First prize. I still can't believe it.
It is beautiful, Mrs. Lucas.
The judges said it was by far the most creative one presented at the bazaar in years.
Well, it would have to be on the design alone. Now, Courtney and I could be first in line for knitting lessons,
If
right?
I could find any time this semester. This looks like it takes hours of work.
Oh, I almost didn't finish it in time. Literally had to force myself back on schedule.
Oh, you off schedule?
Oh, Miriam, one interruption after the other. Oh, your father worked at home that day, and you know what that means.
The phone constantly ringing.
And someone forever at the door. Oh, like that Peter Davison boy, for instance. Oh, I wasn't supposed to mention that.
Well, if it isn't the groom who got cold feet.
What are you
Fancy
doing in
meeting you
Nancy's
here.
room?
Just waiting. Care to keep me company?
Where is she?
How would I know? From the looks of her luggage, I'd say she's at the checkout desk.
Yeah, well, then how did you get in here?
Questions. I came across your set at your office.
Give me that.
Uh-uh.
Look, Julia, I threw you out of there, and I'll throw you out of here, too, if you don't give me the key.
Why? You don't need them now. Nancy's not letting you come within a foot of her.
Yeah, we still got some unfinished business to discuss.
Yeah, like who's going to foot the bill for this place?
No, not me, that's for sure.
Don't bet on it. They set you up so good for the wedding. Don't
Well,
be
what's set up? What are you talking about?
Mention what, Mrs. Lucas? That Uncle Charles told Peter I'd gone to visit my mother?
I just let the young man in. What they discussed is not my affair.
Or what Uncle Charles led Peter to believe?
Courtney, what do you mean?
I mean that Peter doesn't think that my mother was the only reason I went back to Chicago. He thinks I went back to make up with Vaughn.
What? You mean if my father has interfered after he promised?
Mim, I've got to show you this. It's absolutely incredible.
I'll just take this and leave. Excuse me.
Do you mean to tell me that she's still dragging that rug around showing it to people?
Daddy, it's not a rug, it's an Afghan.
Well, it doesn't make any difference. Mim, I tell you, we've got a genius on our hands. Do you realize that Eric has created his own company on his computer upstairs without any help at all from me?
Gee, I'd like to do something without your help also, Uncle Charles.
Oh, really? What?
Live my own life. Just how did you explain my trip home to Peter?
He came by. We already know that.
Well, I see I'm going to have to speak to a rather talkative housekeeper.
Oh, she didn't have to say anything. I've already heard about Peter's visit from one of his friends.
Yes, and he certainly had his nerve trying to tell me what to do. But then, of course, he's a Davidson, and they always seem to come up with the right answer.
Do you realize we could say the very same thing about you?
No, Mim, there isn't anything I've done that's out of order.
Except speak for me.
Yes, because of your actions.
What actions? You don't know how I feel.
Oh, really? I know how Vaughn feels. I know about the physical condition of your mother, and I also know the run-down condition of your father's business.
You really did it, didn't you?
Courtney, I cannot help it if Davidson assumed so much.
Oh, Daddy, yes, you could have.
Mim, it really is just a matter of time until Courtney there is going to be coming up with the right decision. After all, she knows that the financial welfare of her family depends on it.
Oh!
Well, she must get her temper from her mother's side of the family.
Baby, are you sure you want to help Daddy find the Knave of Hearts, sugar?
The who?
The Knave of Hearts.
Claudia Schmidt said she saw the Knave of Hearts leaving Amber's apartment that night.
Well, that shouldn't be too difficult. Just look for all the tarts.
Huh. You're a big help, lady.
Well, you know where the knave went, didn't you, Scotty? Don't you know where that knave went? Hmm? What is? The Queen of Hearts. She made some tarts, all on a summer's day. And the Knave of Hearts, he stole those tarts and took them clean away. Do you know where that chubby old knave went, Scotty? Oh, yeah? You think so? Okay, I'll tell him. Scotty said he went back to Mother Goose.
What a goose.
Yeah. Oh, yes, that's where the chubby old knave went once he ate all the tarts and got his tummy full big as a butterball.
Big.
Mm-hmm.
The Knave of Hearts who ate all the tarts.
Yeah. Well, he sure couldn't fit through the keyhole.
Wait a minute.
What?
Chubby. I should have asked her how big he was. That's it, Carla.
Why?
I think I know who the knave is.
Oh, we actually have one now?
Yes. A certain campaign manager who could sure fit the description.
Sebastian Knight.
Nobody double crosses me.
Oh, you double-crossed yourself. You and your own greediness, wanting every dime of that settlement for yourself.
Look who's talking. I mean, you had Nancy's money spent before I could even get my hands on
I
it.
kept my end of the deal. You had to run off to Mexico and divorce me.
Yeah, and that's why you played along, isn't it? Because you just can't get over the fact that you don't have a monopoly on me.
I loved you. You used me, and I really loved you, and that's what really hurts. You used me.
Well, as they say, Julie, there's no honor among thieves.
So true, which is why I left the den. Just tell me, Dan, why did you come back here anyway? To leave Nancy your bill?
Well, maybe I'm still in love with her, Julie.
Well, in case you've forgotten, you've lost her too.
Oh, you like to think that, wouldn't you?
I know it. She wasn't in on this big joke. But do you know how you looked in her eyes, Dan? Like a speck. One she rubbed right out, just like I did.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll just find that out for myself, if she really has or not.
Yeah, well, love. Do it without me around. I've already seen you squirm. I'd hate to see you crawl.
Well, here we go again, Father. You are playing the sculptor with someone else's life, only this time with Courtney's.
Mim, I am responsible for Courtney as long as she's here in Kingsley. After all, it was Preston who asked me
Yes,
to...
but he did not ask you to make the decisions for her. She's completely capable of that on her own.
I couldn't agree with you more. That's why I've stepped aside in this matter.
Oh, really? You've stepped aside. Purposely leading Peter to believe that she and Vaughn are back together. You call that stepping aside?
Mim, must we really worry this subject to death? Now, I really want to show you how cleverly Eric has worked out this imaginary company
Daddy,
of his.
this is not the time to be going
But
into...
Mim, he's programmed it down so well, he actually projects a profit for the
But
first
don't
year.
you hear what I'm saying? To leave Courtney alone.
Oh, beg your pardon, Mr. Carpenter.
Yes, what is it?
Lancelot is here. He said you're expecting him.
Oh, yes, come in.
Listen, if it's not a good time, I can come back.
Oh, no.
Hello again, Miriam. Well, apparently I picked the wrong time. I'll come back.
No, wait. I'll leave because obviously you have business to discuss with my father.
No, Mim, I don't want you to. As a matter of fact, I want you to find out just exactly the kind of work we do at the museum. I think you'd be interested in it, so you can stay if Jeremy doesn't mind.
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, we have a new item I think you'd be very interested in. So please, stay.
All right, I'll stay.
Well, excuse me again. I'll get the coffee.
Alicia and Scotty fell right off to sleep as soon as I put them in the crib. Now, about Sebastian Knight, what are we going to do?
We're not doing anything.
Well, you can't leave me out if he's our man.
If he's our man, but I still need more to go on. Besides, Claudia Schmidt said something else.
What, another nursery rhyme?
No, she overheard two people arguing in Amber's apartment, and she said she heard a man and a woman, and the Knave of Hearts said something about booze his selection.
Booze his selection?
Or maybe booze is his selection. I don't know.
You're
Something.
right. It does not make sense.
Well, at first I thought it had something to do with Dave's allergic reaction to the pills that he took.
And everyone thinking he was drunk.
Yeah, but we know that he wasn't drinking. And he wasn't in Amber's apartment that night either.
Well, maybe Kate and Sebastian were just talking about him anyway.
Drinking? Carla, I just said. Kate didn't see Dave that night, so she would have had no reason to think that he'd hit the bottle again.
Okay, you're saying to me that a woman said she heard someone saying booze his selection?
I'm saying that she heard two people arguing and, well, you know, the walls were so thick there's no telling what she heard.
Or maybe just what she thought she heard.
Where? Booze his selection, rejection, collection, yes, election. Election!
Lee Carruthers' campaign.
Yes, don't you? If Kate would have really walked out on him, then he would have lost the election.
Lose his election. That's what she meant.
The knave's #1 fear. Don't you see that his primary concern was to change Lee Carruthers' playboy image?
And if it got out that Kate walked out on Lee on their wedding day because he was having an affair with Andrea Summers, wouldn't he have failed?
I'll say, absolutely. See, if news of this got out before the election, then he would have lost. And that's probably what Sebastian Knight used to threaten Kate. If you leave Lee, he could lose the election. That's probably what Mrs. Schmidt was talking about, Carla.
Well, where are you going?
I'm going back over to her apartment, but first I'm going to get a photo of Sebastian Knight.
Well, maybe you should call Brubaker first.
No, not yet. I need more to go on, or at least something close to it.
Well, maybe you should tell him anyway, because, I mean, your friend Claudia might just give you another nursery
Well,
rhyme.
that's fine with me because I'm willing to stay there as long as it takes to connect those two pictures together. So I'm all ears. Tell Ben and Lori to start the party without me, okay? See you.
Okay. Jean, be careful.
10 minutes, that's
Guard?
Stacy, please.
it. Yes?
Never mind.
All the way over, I kept wondering what I'd say to you. I couldn't come up with anything.
Neither can I.
How are you?
Do you really want to know, or are we still breaking the ice?
I really want to know.
Miserable? But then I should be.
I wanted to bring you something, but I didn't know what you needed.
What does Stacy need? Stacy needs... She needs to wake up and open up the curtain and see daylight again. You see, she's so tired of these bad dreams of
Stacy.
hers. Stacy killed her mother, and nothing she can do can bring her back. I wish you hadn't come.
But you know I had to. I had to see you.
I would have killed you too. I would have just run away and let you die.
I don't think you could have. I've thought about it. You could never have lived with yourself.
That didn't keep me from trying. Running away with Gil as fast as I could, trying to forget. And now he's trying to forget. Have you seen him?
No?
Case closed. He has forgotten me.
Who have you gotten to defend you?
Why should I get anyone to defend me? I'm guilty.
Stacy, you still need a lawyer.
Back to my needs again. You hate me, don't you?
The anger hasn't all gone away yet. I always thought I knew you. You surprised me.
I surprised myself.
I kept asking myself why. It doesn't really matter why. You're still my little girl, Stacy, no matter what.
Your little girl, the murderer.
It's our first donation to the auction. It's a very impressive artifact given to us by the local doctor here.
Well, you've certainly been mysterious about it. Wouldn't even tell me what it was over the phone.
Well, that's because I had to do some more research on it.
Oh.
But I think we've been given the genuine one.
A genuine what?
A Bible. The Dar es Salaam Bible. Have you ever heard of it?
No, I haven't.
Neither have I, but I'm surprised you haven't. After all, that subject is, shall we say, related to something very close to you.
Well, me too, as a matter of fact.
Oh, really?
Yes, I've studied the Old and the New Testament extensively.
You are a religious person?
I've studied the Bible. As a matter of fact, you could consider the Bible an archaeological map. It's very reliable, too.
Yes, yes. Well, listen, let's not stand up. Have a seat. And, do you realize, of course, that the Bible is also the reliable Word of God?
Well, I've read that, but I think that point's still being debated.
Yes, well, good, because then we don't have to waste our time on it. Now, tell me, this Bible, what's it called? How much is it worth?
In my estimation, well, it's at least worth $10,000.
Well, that's fine. Now, does the museum get all the proceeds?
Well, not exactly. The doctor has a non-profit organization in mind as a recipient. And then we'll have to come to agreement on that.
No, I don't so sure I like that.
No, that's all right. Because I'm sure the publicity from this one item is going to cause a lot of people to want to donate to us.
But isn't anyone interested in where the Bible will end up, only in how much it's worth? Is that all that counts?
Mim, who cares who gets it? After all, it's for a good cause.
No, I think your daughter's right here. We should concern ourselves with the buyer.
What in heaven's name for?
Because this Bible has a most unusual history to it. It's a very spellbinding history.
What are you getting at?
Well, I'd rather not go into detail.
You mean there is some kind of superstition about it?
Well, hardly, Daddy, if it concerns a Bible. God is not a superstition.
Oh, Mim, what do you care for? I mean, after all, this is a book you've never even seen.
All right, maybe I should just leave the two of you to discuss this after all.
Well,
okay?
I'd much rather you stayed.
Well, we'd certainly understand if you didn't.
I thought you wanted your daughter to join us.
Never mind, I'll leave. Only, I would like to see that Bible when you get it.
Well, I'll see to it that you do.
I apologize for my daughter, Jeremy. I thought she'd be a little more stable than she is.
Well, I found her to be a lovely woman.
Yes, well, when are you going to be able to get your hands on this Bible?
I don't know. I think that you and I should both make arrangements to see the doctor. I think your brother would want both of us to.
Mm-hmm.
I had a hunch that this would come in handy, but I didn't think it would be for both of us.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
For what?
For making me be honest with myself. I could never have turned my back on you. Even though I thought about doing it.
I spent so much time blaming you.
In a way, I was responsible. All those years I dropped out on you and Amber as a father caused more damage than any of us really knew about.
I meant that I blamed you for being innocent. Does that make any sense?
No, not really.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, you had your chance at happiness. And by being innocent, you were denying me of mine.
So, I became your sacrifice.
An unwilling sacrifice on my part at first, but yes.
I should have seen what was going on inside of you. The pain, the torment.
There's no way you could have guessed. That's all I wanted, Daddy. It was just a chance to be happy with Gil. That's all.
But wanting it so bad to destroy for it? How could you let yourself go that far?
That night when I walked into Amber's apartment and I saw that gun sitting there, all I could think about was how I wanted Amber out of the way so that I could be with Gil. Except that Mother got in the way instead. I loved her, Daddy.
I know you did.
You know that the only way that I can think of her now is as Amber and Kevin's mother. I can't claim that honor.
Oh, yes, you can.
And I can't seem to get the blood off my hands. I keep
putting them in the sink and just letting the water run over them, but they don't seem to come clean.
I love you, Stacy. Believe that?
You do.
More than I ever have.
Time's up.
Well, guess you've got to go.
Can't we have one more minute, please?
Sorry.
That's all right, Daddy. Everything's all right now.
Get out.
Now, you just wait a minute, Nancy.
You get out before I throw everything at you I can get my hands
Now, I
on.
wouldn't do that if I were you, Nancy. Why didn't you trust me?
Trust you? You made a fool out of me. You left me standing there in my wedding dress where you just ran out the door.
Yeah, a victim of your relative's scheming. I stopped the wedding when I saw how they were just using you.
You stopped the wedding? You were only after one thing, $1 million check from me, just like they said.
You see, you are still falling for their lies, Nancy. I mean, how could I have gone through with our marriage with all your suspicions?
I didn't have any then.
Oh, come off it, Nancy. Don't you pretend now that you weren't part of that little setup. You owe me an explanation, Nancy, and an apology. That is, if you expect me to take you back.